Hi, Salam Alaikum. Suleiman Rahim here, Messenger of the Covenant, breaker of the seven seals. Brothers and sisters, the original nation is under attack. Second here. It doesn't know it, but it is. Only those who have been paying attention to the angel message even know that it's under attack and who its enemies are. But our people do not know that. Yet all the nations are preparing for war except this one. And this is the one that they're preparing for war against. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? But it doesn't matter because our people are not listening. They're just not listening. Instead, Suleiman would walk along. It'd be a hard test, if you call it a test, because he would have to keep speaking. It sounds like he's speaking to himself. He is talking, 30 years alone. It appears that no one's listening, no one's answering, but he continues. He doesn't stop. They come and go. Oh, I'm with you, but they're not. But he continues. That's what's said about Noah. Noah, what 850 years just kept on. Nobody paid attention. So it'd be like that. Because they don't understand. They think I'm just speaking into the darkness, which I am to some extent, with no feedback, just talking to myself. If they only knew. Because they don't understand the scripture. They talk about the 144,000 elect. How do you think they come into existence? It says when the four winds blow, you think they was just walking around and then a sudden pop, like popcorn, they popped into existence? No. Because they was preparing. They was listening. And then when the time came for the birth, they came forward. When they was in the womb, they was listening. They was preparing. That's what they're doing now. I mean, if you read between the lines, you should see that. I'm not just speaking to myself. It doesn't matter what you think. Only matter are the results. And we shall see the results soon, because it says you will see the results soon. When Master Farad Muhammad makes his move, then you will see the results. It tells you what the results are. It tells you that Suleiman would bring down the son of perdition. He didn't do it instantly. It says he will consume him with the spirit of his mouth and destroy him with the brightness of his coming. That means he was being consumed, so the process was happening all the time. It didn't just happen suddenly. He was consuming him all the time. So that was one of the effects of his preaching. It was having an effect on them. It's having an effect all over the world. You just don't understand it. It tells you right in AL-INJIL that breaking the seals would affect the entire world. When this happens, this seal is broken, that happens. But you don't see it. You can't see mathematics, but you don't even see the effect of the mathematics because you don't associate it with this message, because all you see is just one person here and you don't see all the stuff that's happening in the background. You just don't see it. And it doesn't matter to me whether you see it or not, because you're going to feel it in a minute. As the Quran says, and then suddenly they begin to feel our presence. They couldn't see it, but they felt it. Because the angel will not be mocked. It's impacting the entire world, as it tells you. From the time the seals were broken up until the final destruction, 1990 changed the world. So you may see me as this lone soldier here just talking. You don't see what's going on. The impact is happening all over the world. Oh, He only got 43 subscribers on YouTube. That's your measurement? By that measurement, Jesus wasn't anything because he had, what, 12 followers? But yet still he took down the Roman Empire. See, your analytical thinking, we don't care about it. But it tells you all the power that Joshua or Suleiman would release in the world prior to his manifestation. When he shows up after all those things is coming to focus. We see the world coming into focus. How is the world coming into focus? Is the world coming into focus according to what Farrakhan's been talking about, what Silas been talking about, is anyone else been talking about, or is it coming to focus about what I've been talking about? Because I've been telling you about the war with Russia, which is imminent. They're telling you they expect war with Russia any day now. I've been telling you about the war with China, which is imminent. They expect the war with China this year. I've been telling you about the war with Iran that they say is imminent, that would happen within a month or two because they're so close to uranium enrichment, and that they would not go to JCPOA. I'm telling you this thing for years, 30 years. Now it's coming into focus. So how is that happening that the things I'm talking about is coming into focus if it's not the angel that's bringing into focus? Because their vision, their teachings, whatever they're talking about is not coming into focus at all. Nothing they said is making any sense. And nothing they're saying contributes or explains what's going on right now. And I'm telling you what's going on before it happened. Now you see everything coming into focus. And now they say the main three problems America has right now is three I've been telling you about: Iran, China, and Russia. And they expect to be at war, all three of them. And I've been telling you this for years. And it's going to happen. We got to this point, so now with the jump off point, now it's time to do the jump off. Everything coming into focus, brothers and sisters. And I want to talk to you about Invest in America, because that's part of the reason why our people are not ready. Because angel has great power. You don't understand it. It's causing the world to come into focus as it come into focus to our advantage, but to our disadvantage in many respects because we're just not ready. But angel's not waiting for you anymore. Master Muhammad wants to wait for you. I don't. We had a disagreement on that point. I don't think it's worth waiting anymore. He wants to wait. You're his baby. The Levites are his baby. He wants to wait a little, give him a little more time. I don't think we should wait any more time at all. That was a disagreement Jonah had with the God. They had a disagreement over that. Jonah was very unhappy about that. But we know it's going to happen very soon. But you're not ready. So let me get a little background before I move into. You know, Elijah Muhammad left, he left us in darkness. I hate to say it, but it's true. He left us in darkness because no one, now I knew from the prophecy he was going to leave, but no one else expected that because most people that was paying attention to Elijah Muhammad, see, we had idolaters there too that worship Elijah Muhammad. They wasn't paying attention to what he was saying. They just loved being around him, being FOI and so forth. We had some that was paying attention, studying. I was one of them. But they still, from my understanding of talking to them, they still, I never met anyone that still thought Elijah Muhammad was going to leave. But I read Exodus because that's what brought me to Elijah Muhammad to begin with, Exodus and Malachi. I knew he was going to leave. I wasn't sure when. I knew he was going to leave, and I expected him to leave and come back. And so when he left, I was not surprised, but most people, if not all, were surprised and was left in darkness because they did not know what to do. They had messed with the black man, they had followed America, they had our Savior has arrived, but they still didn't know what to do. So these people walking around tell you, oh, message the black man's the only book. The people did not know what to do. They were in darkness. They knew not what to do. So that's how they fell under the spell of Farrakhan, under Wallace, under Silas, everyone else, because they did not know what to do. Now, these are the ones that were studying, paying attention. Those that was idolaters of Elijah, they fell away because when Elijah wasn't around anymore, there wasn't any attraction for them. Because they weren't paying attention to what Elijah Muhammad was saying. They was paying attention to what Elijah Muhammad was, the mystique behind Elijah Muhammad, the mystique behind the FOI. So he left us in darkness. I didn't know what to do. I knew he was going. All I knew was to hold my post until he returned. That was my thinking. And do the best I could. Because when they dismantled the nation, there was nothing left. I was totally dependent upon the nation. Banking, housing, shopping, whatever. All that was the nation. My job. I was a foreman at Muhammad Speak newspaper. I was totally immersed in the Nation of Islam. When all I was going, that left me totally exposed. I didn't know what to do. I had no job, no house, no place to stay. There was no place to shop anymore. I had to go shop with the devil. You see? I was married at the time. I didn't know what to do. It was a really bad time. I didn't lose my faith. I just didn't know what to do. Elijah Muhammad left us, because if the nation of Islam had not collapsed, then we would just continue what we was doing. We would continue selling the papers. We would continue doing, if someone had carried the message on, Elijah Muhammad's message, we would have kept on doing. But see, when that collapsed, we was left in darkness because what we're going to do now? And we was left in darkness. And so we didn't know what to do. So I just said, I'm going to hold my post. Because Mr. Black man did not have any answers. It doesn't even talk about Elijah Muhammad leaving. They didn't have any answers. Well, America didn't have any answers. We know America was going to fall, but when? Elijah Muhammad didn't know. If you listen to fake, stupid Ishmael says, well, you should not pay attention to any prophet who prophesies something doesn't come to pass. Well, you better do some investigation, son. Because Elijah Muhammad predicted that War of Armageddon would take place in the 70s. I know, because I heard it. And it did not happen. So that means we not should pay attention to Elijah Muhammad that you say we should pay attention to, that, which you don't pay attention to. He made a lot of predictions like that didn't happen. But the main thing was he said that the War of Armageddon would take place in the 70s, and it didn't happen. And I can tell you about other things he said. And I don't take anything away from him because that was his opinion. That doesn't faze me because he had opinions that weren't correct. I knew why he made that calculation. They talk about America would get an extension of about 60 years or whatever. Well, that took you into the 70s right there. From 1914. America's still rolling along. So, as a result, my only option was to try to make the best I could of what knowledge I had and what I learned from Elijah Muhammad until his return. So I started setting up a business of my own, AI business, artificial intelligence, right? A computer consultant. I was good at it. I made a lot of money. I was also buying and selling real estate. I mean, I knew these things. Like, I don't have any college degree. I wouldn't, well, see, the thing is, I educated myself. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. I was doing very well. Like I said, I was living in a mini mansion. I was doing very well. I was on the way to becoming a very wealthy person. And then I ran into the angel. That got my head on straight. It opened my eyes. It turned the lights on very bright. Like I said, we were in darkness, but angel turned the lights on very bright. I mean, whew. Because I was invested in America. Not that I was invested, I had put roots down that I could not uproot myself. Because I was prepared at any minute to drop everything about America, but we was left here in America and we had nothing else. So I had a family. I did the best I could. And I was doing very well. And moving on. I was rolling. I was doing very well. Like I said, buying, selling real estate, my AI business, my consulting business. And then I ran to the angel. And once I realized lights were turned on, I cut all ties to America. I cut all ties. See, I stopped all of that. Buying, selling real estate, got rid of that mortgage, got rid of all that, all ties. I still don't have any. I could do that now if I wanted to. I'm not a buy and sell real estate, go to auction and buy and bid for it, and I'm not do all that kind of stuff. I get a house anytime I want to. See? I'm not investing in America now that the light came on and I can see clearly what needed to be done. That's what I did. That's something that most of us cannot do. We're going to talk about that. Invest in America. That's going to be the main topic here. And I got a few notes I'm going to go through and we're going to talk about them. But that's what was required. Once the lights came on, I understood what was going on. I didn't have that before. And it wasn't easy to turn those lights on either. So we're going to talk about some of those things. So let's move on into the presentation here. Thorough knowledge of self. Master Prophet Muhammad said you will not return till you have thorough knowledge of self. Do you have thorough knowledge of self? No, you don't. I've been trying to give you thorough knowledge of self for 30 years. Only a few have been studying. It says 144,000 in the background. They're studying it. They're preparing, and you're not. Thorough knowledge of self, and you're not even close. You won't admit it, but you say, oh, well, if you have thorough knowledge of yourself, then what is it? I mean, do you understand what that is? What it means? If you don't, that means you cannot return. Let's talk about a few things here. I made some notes. A few topics I want to talk about. Like I said, knowledge of self, knowledge of creation, knowledge of who you are, knowledge of the process of living, of your purpose, your connection with each other. You have none of that, brothers and sisters. You may think you do, but you don't. I've been telling you about how energy works. Energy is the source of everything. Energy is everything. Energy is mathematics. whole universe is not mathematics, period. Allah is mathematics. You have different levels of Allah. You have Allah in person, and that person right now represents Master Prophet Muhammad. But you have Allah, the universe, they call the Spirit, the Holy Spirit. That's mathematics. Pure and simple, just mathematics. You see? So you have to have knowledge of that, but you don't. How it works, how we move forward into time. You have to understand how time works. Because you listen to these philosophers, they're telling you, oh, well, you don't control anything. God controls you. He made you in the womb and all this stuff. It's all bullshit. Because you created yourself in the womb. It was only you there. And your DNA, that was your blueprint. And your mother's DNA, which you took advantage of, wherever you had weak links, you took and placed your weak links with hers to strengthen you. It didn't change your nature. It just made you better. You self-created. No one in the womb but you. They got microscopes. Look at a microscope and see if you see anyone laying back, like Farrakhan's telling you, waving, hey, man, I'm down here. But he tell you that God's a man, yet he's in everybody's womb making babies. See, nothing they make any sense, but it doesn't have to, because you're not speaking to the mind with those people over there. You're speaking to the heart. See, and that's where it's all. They love him because their heart. See, they're not like false Israel. I mean, when you talk all this garbage, he thinks he's impressive. He thinks he's really getting the message across. He's stupid. He's ignorant. They're not paying attention to what he's saying. The only reason why they're even listening because of Farrakhan. Once Farrakhan is gone, they won't listen to this garbage he's talking about. They're not listening to it right now. He thinks they are. He thinks he's an impressive minister. He's about the dumbest minister I've ever seen in my life. If you ever seen the ministers around, when Elijah Muhammad was around, that boy wouldn't even be allowed anywhere near a rostrum. Because he's ignorant, he's stupid. And he thinks it's impressive, that BS he's talking about, that philosophy and stuff. Like I said, he thinks people are listening to that. You don't understand. The people are not there to listen to that. They're there because of Farrakhan. And the only reason they listen there because of Farrakhan, and they're not paying attention to anything that garbage he's saying. And once Farrakhan's not around anymore, right, he's toast. Then he'll realize he wasn't anything to begin with, but he thinks he's impressive. So you don't have knowledge of self, brothers and sisters. I'm trying to give it to you. I told you time travelers. I told you how time works. You transfer energy from one form to another. That's how you move forward into time. If there's no transformation of energy, there's no time. Everything stands still. There's no time. The universe is inert. It doesn't move, nothing. So you have to transform energy from one form to another. That's the creation works. So you move from one state to another. That's what scriptures do, right? Transform energy. It gives you the blueprint of transforming energy from one form to another. That's moving forward into time. But the process of doing that is up to you. How you are transforming energy from one form to another. If you transform your energy from this into a shit farm, then you're going to have a shit farm. If you transfer energy into gold mine, you have a gold mine. That's up to you. But see, in our creation, we have a God that leads the way. And if you're wise, you'll be transforming energy from one form to another, right? Keeping up with the God, because he's the major transformer. So he transformed this reality to a different reality. And so therefore, the old reality is gone. And if you're part of the old reality, you're going with it. I don't care how you transform energy. If you are part of the old reality, then you're gone. You have to keep up with him in the new reality so you move forward into time. And you don't understand that. You may still don't understand it. And so that's why you're lost. Because the situation you're in right now, you created yourself. Because in your life, you was constantly, from the time you conceived, you was transforming energy from one form to another. When you was in the womb, all I was focused on self-creation, to make sure you didn't go astray and deform yourself because all your energy was focused on self-creation. That's why the womb was locked in and you was total darkness and there was nothing in there to interrupt it. So therefore, so all your energy will be focused on self-creation so you don't come through with extra leg or whatever. You see? Then you come forth from the womb and you're still transforming energy from one form to another. You're not doing it consciously, but you're still doing it until you get to the level where you can consciously do it, but then still at that, most of our people are not even at the level. They don't understand what they're doing. See? And they think that some Jesus or some God or something is doing this to them because that's being taught. And they don't realize they're the one that's making this happen. That's why there's a judgment. If it was some God or mystery God at play here, then why would there be a judgment? Why would they be judging you if you're not under control of anything? The God's in control of everything. So what's the point of judging you when you have no control of anything? Because you have total control, you just don't know it. And the enemy doesn't want you to know it because they're using your lack of knowledge to have you transform energy from one form to the form they want you to transform it into, to help them to build their civilization. And I've been trying to teach you knowledge of self, because it said you will not return till you have a thorough knowledge of self. And you need to understand these things, because you can't blame anyone for the situation you're in, because you caused that situation because you was the one transforming energy from one form to another. If you have education, it's because you transform energy right into learning whatever your education caused you to learn. If you're a bodybuilder, you had to put the time and energy in. You had to make that happen. So the situation you're in right now, don't look around you. Look at you. Don't blame anyone else. Look at you. You're the one put yourself in this position you're in right now. The way you are right now, you brought that into existence yourself by transforming energy one form to another. And so you're on the road to hell or you're on the road to paradise. If you are been transforming energy to further master's vision, then that's where you are in time. That's where you're moving along in time. But if you can transform your energy into your original vision, then that's where you are in time. You move along that path. So we'll talk about that more at some other time, but that's the basics. And you will have a knowledge of that, knowledge of self, thorough knowledge. You need to have a thorough knowledge of that. Because we return as gods, not angels. The angels can depend on the gods to guide them. So they still have the same process. They still transform energy from one form to another. But they can look to the gods for guidance. Say, okay, what should I do? What should I do? What should I do? But if you're God, you don't look to no God for guidance. That's totally under your control. No one determines how long you're going to live and all that stuff. Even Farrakhan's telling you that stuff, but he's giving you the music. He's not giving you the lyrics, because if you read How to Live, it tells you right there that you control your lifespan. So he's going to tell you lies and how much something different. It's right there in the book. Move on, brothers and sisters. You cannot reason with the heart. I told you, brothers and sisters, they have our people on the heart zone. Because this world is ruled by the heart. This world has been ruled by the heart for 35,000 years. That's religion. Religion is based from the heart. It's not based from the mind, because not one of these religions can stand the test, a mind test. Not one of them. Not one can withstand a mind test. Not one of these religions. So they're based on your heart, your feelings, festivals, all these different things they have, right? Just like the Christian church, they have music and everything else. So the preacher, he's humming and going. And so that's all it's about, is it appealing to your heart. Because they took us off the mind standard 50,000 years ago, 35,000 years ago, and reduced the heart standard. So the whole world is under the heart standard, ruled by the heart. And you cannot reason with the heart. You can only reason with the mind. The heart is about emotions. So you have to be careful. See, it says the heart is desperately wicked. Who could know it? Because it's all about lying. Because you want to make somebody feel good. So you got to lie and all this kind of stuff because you want to appeal to their heart. That's where lies and stuff come from. Lies don't come from the mind because mathematics, there's no lie in mathematics. But in the heart, there's nothing but lies. Oh, honey, you look good. I like you. Come on to my church. You're my best friend. You sure look good today. And all this kind of stuff, they appeal to the heart. Because if they insult you, then they lose you. They're not going to do that. In America, it's all about appealing to the heart. Music, or they refine it as a science now. Music, television, acting, movies, you name it, games, they got all. Appeal to that heart. You see? And so the heart is controlling the mind. See? The heart does not, any signals get to the mind. So therefore, if you try to reason with the heart, you cannot do it. And it's going to block everything to the mind. So when you talk to our people, you're not going to go into, you can talk to you blue in the face. You're not going to get anywhere with them. I know, once I understood it, I knew I wasn't going to impress my people. I wasn't going to move my people. I wasn't going to raise them until the four winds blow, 30 years in the future. Only thing I do is put the information out there so they'll be prepared, because some would be listening. They said 144,000 will be listening and preparing, but the rest would be of the heart. And they weren't going to listen to anything. In fact, they would be insulted, angry, and they would be after me. They would hate me because I'm speaking things that insult them, hurt them emotionally. The truth hurts them emotionally. See? If the truth hurts you, that means you are even in the heart zone. So you cannot reason with it. They're not going to hear the angel, not hearing the truth. You can talk to you want to. See, that's why Farrakhan and they appeal to the heart. So they talk all that garbage, right? And you listen to them, and nothing they say makes any sense. Nothing. First they tell you God's a man, then they tell you he's in everybody's womb making babies. They tell you this originated at 76 trillion years dead that they praying to. They tell you Master Muhammad, he's a God, yeah, but he's praying to somebody. Who is he praying to? And there's no mystery God, yet he's praying to somebody. You see, nothing they say makes any sense because you're not talking to reason. You're talking to the heart. You're saying things that are going to massage the heart, make the heart feel good. So brothers and sisters, you want to waste your time trying to reason and be logical with the heart? Go have it, go on, that's your thing. It's a waste of time. It's not going to happen. See? I mean, you can put that resonance, you put enough resonance out there, something might bypass the heart and get to the mind, because once the angel touches the mind, right, there's no going back, because the original mind is going to hear, once it's touched it, right, because that's its true nature, it's going to get its attention. But then you got another problem. You see? Because they get it, their eyes are open, but now they got the other challenges. I'm talking about divorcing themselves from this. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. This, once their eyes are open, now they have a choice. Like I had a choice. Do I abandon this American dream and focus all my energy, because we're in a womb now, focus my energy towards getting home to the hereafter? Or do I continue on serving Massa, the American dream? So that's another story. We'll talk a little more about that later. Philosophy versus truth. Now, we've been hearing 35,000 years the world has been under philosophy, not truth. Because all these religions are philosophy. They're not based on facts. They're philosophies. Elaborate philosophies in some cases. So truth has been lost for the last 35,000 years. And so when truth comes back on the scene, it sounds like something alien. What is that? See? Plus, it's the heart that is offended by it. So what happens is that when you tell the truth, their hearts are offended, right? And then they do sin. At that point, when the heart is offended or it's in fear, right? It does send a signal to the mind of what should I do? But see, since they are the flesh, as the Bible says, they're not going to respond as the original person responds, because the mind's going to tell them, get rid of that person, get rid of those people that's telling that strange stuff they call the truth. That's how their response is going to be. That's the world response. All the religion, everything, because when Suleiman becomes more manifest and this truth becomes, it says this truth be spoken all the world, then the end will come. And when this truth is visible to everybody, that's going to be a response. Snuff it out. Because they're going to say, oh, he's against religion. See, we got to have religious tolerance. See, he wants to get rid of all religions. Exactly. So they're going to try to make it a religious war. Think about that. Some of the worst wars of history is the religious wars, because they think they got their God behind them. So they're going to turn this into a religious war. That's be one aspect of it. I never talked about it before. But they're going to turn it into a religious war because they're going to see that this truth, even as soon as it's going to be against, they're against it now. This truth is telling it exactly, it's mathematical, and it's totally against everything they're talking about. And it's that stone that's going to destroy all the nations. As the Quran says, there's only one. They will get rid of all religions. See, only Islam will be standing in the end. And they're going to say, oh man, he's a terrorist. He's a radical. See, but they're a little small. We'll snuff them out because it's 8 billion of us. It's only a few of them. That's what it's going to come down to, brothers and sisters. Philosophy versus truth. And what you're getting from Farrakhan is a lot of philosophy. He got all these stupid books he writes. It's all about philosophy. It has nothing to do with Elijah Muhammad taught, nothing whatsoever. All these philosophies are how to live, how to do this, how to do that. Like he talked about this past Sunday. How life works. It works nothing like he's talking about. It's philosophy. It's not proven in fact, it's just an idea. And so everybody can come up with a philosophy, but truth is truth. 5 plus 5 is 10, period. That's a fact. That's mathematics, it's not philosophy. And Suleiman's come with mathematics. That's what I said. His mission is to destroy this reality. Master Muhammad's mission is to bring in a new reality. He'll make all things new. But before you can build a new building, you have to destroy the old building. If you're going to go and you say, okay, I'm going to build this great building, this site, but there's a building already. Then you have to destroy the building that's still already, and before you can start building a new building. So Suleiman has to destroy this old building with the AL-INJIL. And once destroyed, then Master Muhammad would take the material from this old building to form his new reality, totally new. That's a 2-step process. Philosophy versus truth. And that's all you hear from these people. Philosophy, and most of you buying it. Why? Because the heart will respond to that kind of stuff. Because it's not responding to reason. See, the better philosophy, the good story, right? See, the heart likes good stories, fantasies, fiction. See, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and like I said, the heart likes that kind of stuff. A good fairy tale. It likes that kind of stuff. So they feed it to you with in the movies. All these fairy tales. You got, I mean, I see so many series in my life. I mean, you go and you got a million shows, all these series. I said, if I was didn't know about the Abraham coming, I was come back, right? And be following the American dream, I would be an actor, because there's got to be a lot of money acting, because they got, I mean, they're gonna need a lot of actors to have all these shows, they have all these series and everything, and the movies and all this kind of stuff. You must make a lot of money doing that. That all speaks to the heart. And the heart loves that stuff. A good story, a good fantasy. See? They get you trapped in these series, and your heart just, you know, and they play with your heart in it, right? And you love it. And you get trapped, you watch this series from start to finish. Some go for years. See, it got your attention. So while you folks, see, the time that you was focusing on that series, you could have went out there and got you learned to be an engineer, an architect or something. But look how you was wasting your energy. And then you understand why you ain't nowhere, you're not going anywhere, because they got you wasting your energy on bullshit. You only got a certain amount of energy. Everybody has the same amount. So how are you applying your energy? So now you know all about Game of Thrones, but what does that do for you? What does that do for your life? It made your heart feel good, but what did that do for your life? Nothing. And so you're still walking around ignorant. You don't know anything. You don't know any mathematics, don't know any science, don't know anything. Don't know anything about yourself, about your people, right? And you're still disunited, being picked off, being shot down and stabbed and raped. But you know about the Game of Thrones, Empire, and whatever. Road to Paradise. See, this is some of this philosophy crap. But you understand mathematics, you know this is bullshit. For example, the road to paradise. Now some say be kind and nice to everyone, and you will go to heaven. He's a Christian, I kind of push that. Just be nice. You still got to believe in Jesus, though. But be nice to everybody. Be kind to everybody. See? And you go to heaven. See? That's another Farrakhan, those like him, dumb philosophers. They talk that stuff, too, in their churches. No, stupid. It doesn't work like that. If you are kind and nice to everyone, basic mathematics, you have a lot of friends. Nothing more. Has nothing to do with heaven, anything else. You just have a lot of friends if you're kind and nice to everybody. But see, they take this philosophy to another level that doesn't exist, and your heart buys it. So the Christians, I'm nice, I love everybody, I'm nice. You see? And they think that's getting them to heaven. Has nothing to do with that. They just have a lot of friends. It's just pure mathematics. See, mathematics brings you down to earth, but they take you way into some other zone, some spiritual zone. Oh, has nothing to do with that. You be nice and kind to people. You have a lot of friends. Nothing more. Period. That's that philosophy crap that they got you locked into. Idolatry. That's what Farrakhan's all about. They're not about what Farrakhan's teaching. They're about Farrakhan. They hear the music. They don't hear the lyrics. See, he's giving you Elijah Muhammad's music. Oh, FOI, the NGT, right? We got the mosque, we got this, right? And, you know, and so you walking around and you think, you know, you're playing Elijah Muhammad's music, but you're not getting Elijah Muhammad's lyrics. You're not getting Elijah Muhammad's lyrics. Anyone, see, the point is, you're not going to listen to what I say, because if you did and you moved out of the heart zone to mind zone and you look clearly, you realize he is not teaching Elijah Muhammad's lyrics, but you don't care because you're about the music. And as long as the music is playing, you happy. As long as he's playing Elijah Muhammad's music, you're happy. Give you a message, black man, how to live, fall of America, I'll say his rise, which you're not reading anyway. But you got it. See, I'm part of Elijah Muhammad. Elijah Muhammad's doing, because you know you got the mystique of what Elijah Muhammad did. That Farrakhan not doing any of that. But he keep associating his name with Elijah Muhammad. He's not doing any of the works of Elijah Muhammad. Not any. Zero. He hasn't produced anything in 40-some years. But you got the mystique. He's playing that mystique. He's playing like a fiddle. See, and that's what he's giving you. All this music, but no lyrics. Lyrics he's giving you is stuff he made up. That's not Elijah Muhammad's lyrics. That's his foolishness. But you're not paying attention to the lyrics anyway. Because all you paying attention to is Farrakhan. He's a mystique. Oh, he talks so nice. He's so handsome. You listen to where they talk. Listen to what Ishmael talk, if you will. Oh, you don't say like Farrakhan's right. He's a mathematician. See how pretty he is. That's what we talk about. How handsome he is. All stuff like that. He's a Jesus and all this stuff. Because they're in love with him, not any truth. Just the idea of him. Because he talks nice, he smiles, he walks around his $2,000 gowns and stuff on, right? They don't see underneath that is foul, because he's shitting and pissing in a bag. He's disemboweled because he was cursed with a curse, like it says in Malachi, because he's robbed the whole nation. It says it right there. That's why he said to be cursed with a curse. But they don't show that part. All you got to lift up his gown and you would see it's foul, totally foul. The Ishmael. I was just talking about that, so we're going to underscore it. The Ishmael thinks that Farrakhan worshippers listen to that dumb crap he pulls out of his ass every week. He thinks they're listening to that stuff. See? He thinks he is impressive. He's not impressive. In fact, he's one of the worst speakers I've ever seen. That's a fact. He is one of the worst. And he sure wouldn't have stood the test of Elijah Muhammad during Elijah Muhammad's time. Though he claims he's Elijah Muhammad's son, which is sad. See? He doesn't realize they just love Farrakhan. Ishmael can say anything as long as it praises Farrakhan. Once Farrakhan is no longer around, they won't listen to anything dumbass Ishmael has to say, because they wouldn't listen to begin with. They was around because of Farrakhan. They wouldn't, because nothing he says makes any sense anyway. It doesn't add up. So it couldn't withstand his test of the mind. Nothing he says will stand the test of the mind. It just spills to the heart. See, because the only thing they're hearing is, we love Farrakhan. That's all they're hearing. He can talk all the bullshit he wants to. All they're hearing is Farrakhan. That's all they're hearing. Now they're telling you the man is in a casket. They're saying he's going to, if he makes it to his so-called safety, that'll be his last public appearance. They tell you the man is dead. And he's talking about he had one last thing. What was that last thing, Mr. Farrakhan? Getting in the casket? Because you keep talking about stuff like that, but you don't come through and explain what it is. You tell everybody, watch the weather. Okay. Watch the weather. I mean, because you ain't gonna be around much longer. And then you're supposed to get across the river, all this bullshit. See, the thing is that with idolatry, once you get rid of idol, then everybody wakes up. Everybody snaps out. Because they don't have an idol, just like Elijah Muhammad. There's a lot of people idolized Elijah Muhammad. When he was gone, they snapped out of it. Because he wasn't around anymore. Because they don't expect the idol ever disappear, to be non-existent. No options. This is how they got to you, brothers and sisters. The idea of no options. Because even though Farrakhan occasionally speaks to the Abrahamic covenant, he just speaks to the fact of the 400 years. He doesn't speak to the fact that we're going back home and all other things. That he stops. He don't read all the verses. So in his Abrahamic covenant, there's no reward. It's just we go through 400 years of hell. And he stops. He don't go in because he says specifically we're not going home. We're not going anywhere. We're not going across the ocean, not going to split. We're going. He already says that. So he's called a liar. They see this last week. Say, oh, God is not a liar. God is not a liar. But he's calling God a liar because Master Muhammad came and tells us that we're going home. Abrahamic covenant. Like Muhammad spoke, took 40-some years to tell us that we're going home. Abrahamic covenant. He said specifically, and we had the tapes, we'd be fools to stay here in the land of our imprisonment. So they're calling Allah a liar. Because Allah says he came to confirm, he said he will come himself to confirm, right, that we are going home. At the time, see, he came to start the womb process of us going home. He came to initiate the womb process of us going home because we have to go to the womb because it has to be birth. If there's going to be a birth of a nation, it has to be a womb process. Prepare for that birth. They're calling Allah a liar. But you're not paying attention because logic does not matter in your universe because you are heart zone. So you're not listening to anything I say. Only thing you listen to is we would Farrakhan. You're going to snap out of that in a minute. So they told you you had no options. Let me back up. I say I didn't. They told you you had no options. Let me back up here. I didn't explain that clearly, I don't think. They told you you had no options. So they told you that because if we're not returning home, that means America, because they tell you, Farrakhan tell America belongs to us. We built it. And we're going to get America. And one day we're going to inherit the land that we was like. He got it all backwards. So we're going to take over America one day. Yet still, what happened to America, the fall of America? America burning up, destruction of America. So why we want ashes? Why we want a country that's going to be that's going to be destroyed? See, nothing they say adds up, but it does need to because they speak to the heart. So they convinced you there was no options, that we weren't going anywhere. That was the trick. That was the main idea. That was the trick to make you think we're not going anywhere. Because once you think that away, it's logic. Even if you are the heart or the mind, even if you get to the mind, if you say we're not going anywhere, the mind will tell you where to make the best of what you got here. That's the American dream. You're going to do the best you can here. If we're not going anywhere, then wouldn't that make sense? To make the best of what you could here? You want to survive, you want to take care of your family, you want to be successful. So your success will be how well you're able to apply the American dream. If you have no other place to go, that was their trick. That is their main trick. And most of them got you in it. We're going to talk about that a little more in detail. Most of you are trapped into that. And so that's how they got you. And now you can't extricate yourself from it. You just can't separate yourself from it. See, conflicted. See, then you conflicted because once he convinced you that this was it, see, then you start investing in America, which made sense. It's logical sense. Heart or no heart. I mean, if that's the only option, then you should invest in it and make the best you can for your family and everything. If this is only this is all we have, this is all we ever going to have here, that makes sense. That makes total sense. I mean, I was part of that. So you would take, and not because of Farrakhan, because I explained that earlier. But the point is that now, see, so that's how they get you to invest in America, and that all goes with it. We're going to talk about that in a second. That all that policy is a trap. But first, they have to convince you that you're not going anywhere, that this is your only option. Once they convince you of that, right? Then that means, unless you fool crazy, you're going to do the best you can, invest to try to be successful in this reality, in master's reality. See? But if once you get your roots down deep, and then you find out you have another option, now you're conflicted. And we're going to talk about that. Now you're conflicted because you got roots deep into this. The further longer you go with Farrakhan, the deeper your roots going to get. So then you find you were lied to. Now you're conflicted. Now you're conflicted. And a lot of people conflicted and not going to be able to separate themselves out of it. Fall of America. See, that's one of the books, right? So why invest in something that's about to be destroyed? See, that's why logic doesn't apply there, because they tell you Fall of America, and you look at the page, the cover page, America's on fire, the whole thing. It tells you Malachi, it will burn as an oven. So why would you invest in that? That's what I'm saying. They don't pay attention to the lyrics. They just love Farrakhan, and he convinced them that this is the only game in town. So now they're investing in something, even though the lyrics told them, what Elijah Muhammad said, that this place is going to be destroyed. So why invest in this? That's what I'm telling you. Nothing adds up with them. Because if you was of the mind, you said, that doesn't make any sense. Why would I take and invest in America when it's going to be destroyed? It's right there in the lyrics. That's what Elijah Muhammad said. You claim you represent Elijah Muhammad, so that's what Elijah Muhammad said. So why would I invest in that? See, that right there would stop you cold, right? You come to screeching halt right there if you was of the mind, but you're not. You're the heart, and you, Farrakhan, 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 Farrakhan. And right there tells you, because he gives you the book, but you're not reading that book. And if you're reading the book, it says, that doesn't make any sense. If America's going to be burned up, why would I invest in it? Makes no sense. But you are not about making sense, because you cannot, logic does not apply to the heart. You cannot be logical with heart. It will not accept it. It won't make any sense to it. The heart is not about logic. So therefore, that's where you are. So that way you'll do something as stupid as that, even though you have the lyrics tell you Fall of America, but you still invest in it, even though Elijah Muhammad told you the place is going to be burnt up. And some of you invested very heavily. But you had a book says this place is going to be burned up. Deceived. Farrakhan has deceived those dumb enough to follow him into sinking their roots into the American dream. Now they are trapped, conflicted, enslaved by massa. You understand that? Because that's the modern form of enslavement now. Capitalism, credit. Because once you invest in America, you go out and get that mortgage. Now that master got you for the next 30 years. Because how you going to pay that mortgage? You got to work for master now for the next 30 years. And when you work for master, there's no democracy there. You spend, what, 8 to 9, 10 hours a day preparing and working on a job and whatever, and with lunch and all that kind of stuff. And there's no democracy there. You're like a slave. You do whatever the boss tells you to do, or you get kicked out of there. And then you got to go run to another boss to find you to pay that mortgage. He's got you. Then you get property. And you get deeper and deeper and deeper into it. And then you go out there and get your car, and you get deeper and deeper and deeper into it. And then you go out there and you go out there and you want your degree. So I educated myself. See, but you want a degree, you want the paper, you want certification. See, I have more better than a degree. I've studied calculus, vectors, algebra, trigonometry, physics, all of it, history. I've studied all of it, social, all those things. I've taught myself those things, and I stand my education against anyone else. But I didn't have to pay for it. I paid for it in my taking energy by learning, transforming energy to one form to another by taking my energy and use that to teach myself. That's how I transformed it. I didn't go out and say, well, I need a certificate, because a lot of people go out there to get the certificate. I got my degree, and they never work in it. I know people, they wouldn't got a degree in this or that and never work in it one day of their life. So it was now they got a $40,000, $50,000 debt that they can't pay off, and they're never going to benefit from it. And because they wanted that piece of paper, say, well, I got a bachelor's degree, when they could have went taught themselves. Because nowadays, with all this stuff online and everything else, you can teach yourself all this stuff and don't pay a dime. I taught myself all this, even before they had the internet and all, I was teaching myself this stuff. They got libraries, you ever heard of them? So now they got you entrapped. You got to student loan. You might have one for your children. You got your mortgage. You got your car. You may have some property. All these different things. So now your roots, and the longer, and this is Farrakhan's thing. The longer you're in it, the deeper those roots go. So now you so deeply rooted into the American dream, you can extricate yourself from that. You can't do it. And it's hard to blame you because you thought Farrakhan made you think that was the only game in town, so you invested in it. So now all your investments, all your energy, right, over the years has been, instead of applying it to the birth of a nation, applying it to preparing yourself, getting thorough knowledge yourself, and that kind of use, giving Master's dream. So now you're stuck in Master's dream. You're so deeply stuck that you can't be extricated from it. You can't break through. The gravitational vortex has got you so firmly, you're never going to break through. So you're totally conflicted. So now you see, but you can't do anything about it because you have to break all those roots. You have to cut yourself free from all those roots, and you can't do it. Oh, man, I invested 20 years in this mortgage, man. I invested all this in this property, this business, right? Man, I got a $30,000 student loan, man. I got all this stuff, man. If I walk away from that, man, I'm gonna ruin my credit and everything else, man. I ain't gonna have anything. You ask yourself, if you want to get to the second floor, how do you get to the second floor if you're on the first floor? Don't you have to go to the first floor? But you want to get to the second floor, but you don't want to go to the first floor. That says Allah will lift you up, but you cling to the earth. You want to get to the second floor, but you don't want to get off the first floor. And that's what you have to do. You have to get away from this world's life to get to the next, but you can't because you're really so rooted. Your roots are so deep in this world life, you can't do it. That's what Farrakhan did to you. Now, some might be able to break away, but it's going to be very hard. See? I just broke away, but I wasn't that deeply rooted because when I went in that many years. But I was always prepared in my mind, right, that given a choice, the American dream was history. And that's exactly the decision I made. Son of Perdition. That's Farrakhan. He plays Elijah's music, but teaches the devil's lyrics. He plays Elijah's music. I said he give you a message of black man, how you to live, all of America, our favorite rise. He get all those books and everything. You don't read them. See, FY, MGT, the meetings, all this kind of stuff. He gives you all that stuff. See, the mystique of Elijah. And you love it. But you don't get the lyrics. You get the devil's lyrics. You don't get Elijah Muhammad's teachings. You don't get, I'll give it $10,000 to anyone prove to me that Farrakhan is teaching Elijah Muhammad's teachings. I get $10,000. Anyone that can prove to me that he's teaching Elijah Muhammad's teachings. Because he's not. It's easy to prove it. Just pull out the lessons. The devils ain't devils anymore. You want to bring devils in NOI. Scientology, Sunniism, praying with people that call your God a fraud, and you're a messenger, a liar. We got him on tape denouncing Master Prophet Muhammad and denouncing Elijah Muhammad. We have him on tape doing it. Don't tell me he's teaching Elijah Muhammad's teaching because he's not. He's giving his music. He's not giving his lyrics. Time traveler. Transforming energy from one form to another. I tried to explain that to you in the beginning. That's what you're doing. You're moving forward through time. You can't move backwards in time. You can stand still, but you can't move forward. But you can't move backwards in time. You're going to move forward. And that's what you're doing. So your actions, that's a consequence. Another way of saying consequence. Every action has opposite, equal reaction. So you are a consequence of your actions. You have been transforming energy since the day of your conception from one form to another until you in the form you are in right now. And you was the one doing all the transfer. You were the one doing all the transforming. So now when you look at yourself, you are the ultimate result of your that transforming process. You are the one that brought us. When you look in the mirror, that's your creation. That's your creation. If it's messed up, you created it messed up. No one else, no mystery God. No one else. So, well, this person treated me wrong, whatever. That has nothing to do with how you is transform energy one form or another. Well, it does have something to do with they deceive you and have you using it, misusing it. They confuse you, had you misusing it, but you still the one had to do the process. They can't do the process for you. So if you're deceived in how to use your energy, how to use the process and transform energy to one form or another, that's another question altogether. But still, that's still you had to do it. And you're constantly doing it. You transform energy to one form to another, so you move forward in time. Now, in what direction you're moving forward in time, that's up to you. Are you moving towards the hereafter, or are you moving towards hell? You're moving towards this reality, or are you moving towards our reality, towards our vision, the vision of Abrahamic covenant, or the vision of American dream? What vision are you heading towards? You're moving forward, but which one vision is like a crossroad? And what vision are you moving towards? That's the vision you're going to get. So if you're moving towards that vision and America going to be destroyed, then you're going to be destroyed with it. But if you're moving towards the Abrahamic covenant vision, that's the one you're going to get, because you're the one transforming energy from one form into another. The devils trick you into misusing the transformation process to get you to invest, to take and transform your energy into developing their dream, their vision, which is against you. And that's why I said, because some of you roots are so deep, that's what you're doing. And now you're doing it willingly. Because you're transforming energy into their vision. Because now you lock down with a mortgage and all these other things. So what do you do? You serve a master. You aid in their vision. You have to. Because he has you trapped in the American dream now. He got you deeply rooted, so you got mortgages and all these different things. So now you got to serve master to maintain those things. Time traveler in sync with time. Now, as we move through time, right, you have to be in sync with time also. That's what I'm saying. You have the God. See, right now we got two gods. We got Satan. He's taking down one path, and you got Master Muhammad taking down another path. Which one are you in sync with? In addition to that, you have to also, because time changes. It's like now, this is a time of the angel. So you must be in sync with that, because this is a time of war, unprecedented trouble. You must be, because if you're in sync with the Quran of 400 years ago, you out of sync with time. As soon as you're out of sync with time, out of sync with time. They think the Quran is all in all. There's nothing beyond that. And so, just like you got these time makers, they're out of sync with time. Oh well, yeah, Mr. Black Man. That's it. They're out of sync with time, because the scriptures, right, keep you in sync with time. It tells you what time it is. It keeps you in sync with time, in sync with the God. But you're out of sync with time. So you move forward in time, but you're out of sync. So when it's winter, you in spring. That's what I mean by out of sync. So you're in the wrong season. So you're setting yourself up to be destroyed. You're in the wrong season. You're out of sync with time. So you want to talk about the Quran? You're out of sync with time, because the Quran was designed for a certain purpose. It was designed to lock up the devils for 1,000 years in the pit. That was designed for. That time is past. It's done its job. Now it's spent. But they still locked into that. So they're out of sync with time, which is going to lead to their destruction, because you need to keep up with the God, because the God is transforming energy from one form to another. He's making everything new. And if you're not a part of the new that he's bringing in, then you're part of the old that he's getting rid of, that Suleiman is getting rid of. Knowledge of self. Now the 7 seals. Now watch this carefully. who was worthy. It wasn't a question of ability, but a question of worthiness. Now, why does that matter? Because it didn't say anything about ability. That means all of you may have had the ability, but was you worthy to do it? Was you willing to make the sacrifice? Was you willing to break with this reality, with the devil's reality to do it? Because that's what it took. Because it says no one in heavens or earth or under earth was able to do it because they wasn't ready to take and transform, use, focus all their energy into doing it. So he was the only one willing to do it. That's why it talks about worthiness and who is worthy. Because that's what you have. The worthiness means, right, that you earned it. You put the work in. Ability is something else. You might have the ability to do it, but you don't do it. Like a chicken has the ability to fly, but it doesn't do it. Only Suleiman was worthy to make that sacrifice to bring about the birth of this nation. See? Who was willing to give up everything, focus all their energy transformation power of breaking the 7 seals. Who's willing to give up everything, the total focus on that? Who's willing to do it? The only Suleiman was willing to do it. Only one worthy. Understand that, brothers and sisters. That's what you got to give up. No attachments. I have no attachments to this reality beyond the basic necessity of life. When I had my own business as an IT contractor, I worked only when I needed to maintain and provide the necessities of life. Why would I invest in Fall of America? See, why would I invest when I know about Fall of America? Why would I invest in America when Elijah Muhammad told us about the Fall of America? I gave up mortgage, property, all attachments to this false dream. I gave up all attachments. I have no attachments to it whatsoever beyond the necessities of life because we need to maintain that. We have to live. I gave it all up. I could achieve it now if I want to. I know how to go in and buy and sell real estate. I was doing that before. I was good at it. I know how to go to auctions and bid for real estate and buy and sell real estate, flip it. I know all the different ideas and programs that go with that. They're called money trees. I know about all of that stuff. My IT business is still on hold. I get emails all the time, all contracts all over the country. I just don't do them because my total focus is this. So if I wanted to do that, I could do it anytime I want to. I'm not starving. I'm doing well. But my total focus is the message of the covenant and getting us back home. Because that's what it requires. 100% focus. Because we're in the womb. And this nation is about to be birthed. And the womb. Now we come into the close, I think, here. So what's this womb? See, we say the nation's going to be birthed. It should be birthed in a day. So can a nation be born in a day? It's about to be birthed. But before something to be birthed, it has to come to a womb. So what's the womb? See, that was Master Muhammad. He came and impregnated the womb. He impregnated the nation of Israel. He impregnated, right? He came here. It says he would impregnate it, right? Puts in the womb, he'd impregnate the womb and produce a son, Solomon, because he's David. He produced a son, Solomon, and Solomon will be the one that will finish the process. That's what it says. So he came and he That's what talks about chapter 12, right? It says the woman, right? She was tormented to give birth. And she gave birth to a son. It's actually talking about two there, a son and a male child. I'm not going into details about that here, but the point is that he impregnated the womb. And so now we started, because that process, and it's almost 90 years, 9 months. But anyway, he started the process. So we started going, and then he set up Elijah Muhammad, right? The Levites as examples tell us how we're supposed to conduct ourselves in the womb, how we're supposed to take and, right, prepare to be born. Because I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because I did that initially, but the egg itself is the mother. It's a cell of the mother, so it has all the mother's experience and everything in it. So therefore, you need the egg to prepare you for the outside womb. Outside the womb, the sperm goes to the egg, but the egg prepares it for life outside the womb. That's why it needs the egg, because the egg is the mother. It's the experience of the mother. All the experiences, everything is in there. I'm not going into detail about it, but the messenger of the prophet serves the same purpose, because what they do is that when they see a nation in a womb, they come and tell the nation what to expect. They prophesy, tell you what to expect, what life outside the womb is like, how you need to prepare for it. That's why the difference between the believers and disbelievers, how to prepare for it. That's what they do. And if you listen, then when you'll be born healthy and strong and ready for the world outside the womb. But if you don't, you're a disbeliever, so you end up being stillborn, right? Or aborted or destroyed once you come out, because you wasn't prepared for life outside the womb. Because you don't know what the life outside the womb is. It's going to be hostile, it's going to be this, that, but you have to be prepared for whatever it is. And we're told that we're going to be giving birth in a time of unprecedented trouble. That means you have to, when you come forth out of the womb, you have to be prepared to deal with unprecedented trouble, or you're going to be dead or stillborn or aborted. You have to be prepared. That's what Suleiman is here to do, to prepare you, right? To show you how to prepare, tell you what, that's why it's prophesied and tell you what's going to be lacked when you come outside, when you give birth. What outside, he serves the same purpose as the egg that gives you, that explain to you, to prepare you for life outside the womb. So when you, so you know why you're in the womb, how to prepare yourself, in which way you design yourself. Because remember, in the womb, you're designing yourself. But you need to design yourself in such a way that you're prepared to deal with life outside the womb, because you're in the creation process. So how do you create yourself, right? You got your DNA, you got the blueprint, right? But you also got your mother and her experiences and everything that's in the egg. So now you know what to do, what genes and everything would apply to get prepared for life outside the womb. And that's what a messenger prophet does for you. Tells you this is what it is. This is how you need to prepare. So when you come out of the womb, you'll be prepared to deal with whatever is out there waiting for you. And we're told it'd be a time of unprecedented trouble, a time of war. So that means, and the prophet and messenger is telling you that means you need to prepare for war. And that's what happens. It says once the nation was born, right? It says, it talks about Ezekiel, right? Talking about the four winds. It says it was born, right? How? A great army, because they was prepared, because that's what it needed, because the world was you're under attack. It's time of unprecedented trouble. You got all these enemies around you. So that's the way you need to prepare. You need to be a great army to deal with that. That's why it says there came forth a great army, because they prepared, but you wasn't prepared. So that's why you got to flee and run, because you wasn't prepared for that. So now you got your throat cut because you came out of the womb unprepared, wasn't ready for the environment that you was coming into. And so therefore you're fleeing, you're running, you're hiding, you're doing whatever you're doing. You're getting your throat cut because you didn't prepare for the environment that was waiting for you outside the womb. But the 144,000, they did prepare. So they came out a great army, ready to defend themselves, ready to deal with the world as the world is once they exited the womb. And you're in the womb now, but you're not preparing. And a lot of you roots are so deep in masses of vision that you can't anyway. because you're conflicted. So when you come outside the womb, you totally under master's control, and you definitely won't get your throat cut. Elijah Muhammad provided the example of how the seed of Abraham should prepare themselves for life outside the womb. Because what was Elijah Muhammad's example? 100% focused on nation building, right? And on self-creation, preparing yourself, right? As an army. The FOI under Elijah Muhammad provided us the example of what we should be doing. That's what his purpose was, because that's what the Levites were, to make the bridge between Elijah Muhammad and Suleiman, to prepare you, right, for life outside the womb. And the Nation of Islam under Elijah Muhammad gave the example of what we should be doing, how to prepare ourselves. And some followed and some did not. It says only 145,000 will listen and follow it, and they will come forth prepared for battle, a great army. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. I think that's pretty much, yeah, that's pretty much it. There's a lot more to talk about. But you need to understand that womb process. The nation is about to be born. It said be born at a time of unprecedented trouble. All these things be happening. The demon war. Master Muhammad taking down false Israel, abomination, desolation. All these things happened almost simultaneously. You know, are you prepared? Some of you can't. Some of you waking up and you're conflicted. You say, okay, you're original. You see the Abraham, but you got your roots are so deep into. You got your mortgages, your property, and everything so deep into vision. Now you're conflicted because you know, hey, I want to go to promised land, but I got all this right here. I can't let that go. And you can't have both. You got to get off the first floor to get to the second floor. So Allah will lift you up to cleanse the earth. So you're conflicted. And Farrakhan got you locked in. And so you're trapped. You're trapped in the American dream. It says it will come upon the world and earth as a snare. You're trapped. You're conflicted. Nothing I can do for you, because we're not going to sit back and try to extricate you. We tell you the truth. Now you have to make that decision yourself if you can. Some of you, it's just too late. That's what walking around the wilderness for 40 years was about. To separate many of you away, because you're so locked up into master's vision that you can't, it's no way for you to make it to the hereafter, promised land. You're just in the way. You can't break free. You can't get off the first floor, so you can't get to the second. The first floor is about to be flooded. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Nobody's worrying about your feelings. Nobody's going to sit around and help you extricate yourself. Let's tell you the truth. Because like Elijah Muhammad said, every tub will sell its own bottom. So you think Elijah Muhammad cared about your feelings? He didn't. You didn't know Elijah Muhammad. He put the truth out there, and either you was with or you wasn't. If you didn't, he put you to work. And if you had an excuse, then you had to get the hell out of there. He didn't want to hear any excuses. I never did anyone get rid of any excuses, not that I ever saw. You need to understand, brothers and sisters. You need to understand, but you don't. You need to understand, but you don't. You want to make it to the promised land, you got to put the effort, you got to put the energy, you have to focus. Right now you're in the womb, and the womb is about to give birth. The water is about to break. When Master Muhammad takes out false Israel, that's the water breaks at that point. That means the birth is imminent. And when you come forth, are you going to be ready for this world of unprecedented trouble? That's the time of unprecedented trouble. What happened at the time of birth, that's when the time of unprecedented trouble. So when you come forth, are you going to be ready for that? You're ready for battle, because that's what you're going to be running into. Are you going to be ready for that? Otherwise, you're through. because you didn't pay attention. You didn't focus. You was messing around playing master's game with picnics and all this other stuff. That's how you was focusing your energy. We didn't focus our energy like that when Elijah Muhammad was around. We had no time for picnics and all that kind of stuff. You know, when Wallace came in and they took over, the first thing they did was have big picnic stuff. They were trying to appeal to the heart. We didn't have none of that kind of stuff when Elijah Muhammad was around. We had no dances and all that kind of stuff. We had work and we produced because first of all, we was giving an example, supposed to give an example to Lazarus or the seed of Abraham while they were in the womb of what they should be doing, right? How to prepare themselves, nation building. See, Farrakhan not doing it in nation building. He's got you deceived, saying, "Oh, we here, that's it," and you believe in that. So therefore, now you're so stuck in the American dream, you can't extricate yourself. So you're lost. You're in the womb right now, brothers and sisters. The war is about to break, and you're coming forth. Are you ready? Most of my people are not ready. It says only 144,000 going to be delivered. Dr. Shabazz knew that. He says only a few going to return. He says many will go out, only a few return. But they return, but they will come in as God. See, we came as angels, because remember, it was told angels to submit. We came over here as angels. But we're going home as gods, but it's only going to be a few of us. So 144,000. Then we got the incubator period, that time of tribulation. Some of you be corrected because you're not too far gone. If you're too far gone, that won't even help you. But some of you will find correction within that short period of time, however long that lasts. See, that's like a baby is born. He's not ready. He's not fully developed. So they put him in the incubator, right? Give him more time. That's what tribulation is all about. But it will not be easy. They give you a little more time. It's like a makeup. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. I think we're going to leave it there.